Have you ever been playing Left 4 Dead and you just come across a weird or unsettling place that you can't really explain? The vibe is never really prominent, but it always makes you feel a little bit off. Well, in today's video, I have even more weird and unsettling places in Left 4 Dead 2. Credit for this video goes to Annie Austin, so please check them out down in the description below. You guys have really been liking this series. I thank you guys very much. In today's video, I want to hit 2,000 likes. I've never hit it before. We hit 1,000 in the last video. In today's video, I want to try get 2,000 likes. I know that's a very big number to ask for, and I'm not that big of a channel yet, and we actually hit 1,000 last video, so thank you guys very much. But this time I actually want to give you guys something. So if we hit 2,000 likes, I'll post a picture of my bunny. Trust me, he's very cute, you won't be disappointed. And make sure you subscribe, and I'll post it to my community tab, and as soon as I post it, if you're subscribed, you'll see it on your YouTube front page. So you won't even have to come back to the channel to get the photo, it'll just show up on your front page, so make sure you subscribe. Alright, but without further ado, let's get into the weird and unsettling places in Left 4 Dead 2. So for the first weird and unsettling place, I'm taking you guys to the last map in Death Toll. And this was actually suggested by someone in the last video that I guess I didn't find, or I must not have followed correctly, so that's my bad. But I'll flash some comments on screen. They corrected it and they told me the new location. So like I said, if you come to the last map on Death Toll, right outside of the safe room, when I was trying to find this location, I first thought it might have been this, because if you guys remember, there's some sort of road on Death Toll that leads to Last Stand, or at least that's what a lot of people were saying. So in the previous video, I tried to find it. I believe I went to the third map, but it wasn't there. I couldn't actually find it. But on the fifth map, I actually have found it. Here, as you can see, this is not the right area because the commenters point out that the pickup truck in the Last Stand, it just looks like a normal truck with a box and a lantern in the back, is prevalent in the map. But as you can see, there is no pickup truck on this road, and this is the road I first came to. However, if you skip past this road and you go to the other road past these houses, so right as you come outside of the houses, normally you would just go straight forward, you would go to the boathouse and you would start the finale. If you come over here and you turn right, a lot of people might recognize this road pattern or this road texture, but you can actually see the pickup truck there. And I think this is extremely cool. This is some really subtle environmental storytelling that the creators of Last Stand actually used in the creation of their map. This road texture is actually used in the Last Stand. The road that comes out of bounds up into Last Stand actually looks like it. If we no clip out of bounds here, you can actually walk forward and see that this is indeed the actual pickup truck that they use. And it's very interesting because it seems that when Death Toll was made, this was kind of just placed here without any thought, with really no purpose to being here other than extra set dressing. But for a map creator to actually use this asset to create the premise for an entirely new map, albeit it's just the car that they use, it's really interesting. And since we're out of bounds, you can actually take a look around. And there's a lot of places in Left 4 Dead that look like this, where it's these sort of out of bound roads with trees and grass. But I don't know, this area is very unsettling. See what I did there? But as you look off, there's some hills. There's smoke in the air. This fence goes on for quite a while. These housing units continue down here. We can actually jump up here and enter the back area for these houses. And there's all sorts of weird things. I don't expect this to look necessarily right because this is out of bounds, so it makes sense that a bunch of this stuff is missing. And as people have pointed out in my previous videos, a lot of the reason why houses or terrain will have no faces is to actually save on resources for the game, so it's pretty well optimized. areas. I thought that's very interesting. I never actually knew you could come back here and explore all of this. I thought it might have been a zone where you can't actually do anything. That's it for this first place. Let's move on to the second one. So for this second weird and unsettling place, if you make your way to the second to last map on Dark Carnival, right before this horrible crescendo event, might I add, there's this ticket shop, and unless you use no clip, no one is gonna know about this place. And this was actually suggested by a commenter in the previous video, so I'm gonna go ahead and show them on screen. Thank you so much for the suggestion. But how you normally open this area is you click this right here and it opens and you go through and whatnot. But as the commenter said, if you no clip out of bounds, there's a room, and at first I couldn't find it. I was looking here, I was thinking maybe it's behind here, maybe he was talking about here. But if you come right to this wall and you go through it, there's this weird room. This room has no doors, it has no windows, has no openings, it has no hatch. This room is completely sealed off from the outside. I have no idea why this room even exists, and sometimes Valve likes to make backroom areas and just not use them because it fits the size of the building, but they don't populate it with any props. But it seems like in the case of this room, they went through the effort of actually putting props in here. And as you can see, unlike Dead Air, these props are right side up. And it's weird, this room is very tiny, there's nowhere to go. A commenter left a comment to use the command matte full bright to show dark areas, and you can look into this room with this command and you can genuinely see there is nothing. And if you come back out to this little corner side right here, if you look to your left, there's this little blockade piece of wood here. If you no clip beyond it, but you can explore these back areas, and I'm probably gonna have to go to no clip. And as a little extra, because this one was kind of a smaller area but still pretty interesting, you can see these giant areas back here, and there is no reason for this to exist. The only reason I could think of is for setting up set dressings like this Ferris wheel, but for like all of this to exist, honestly doesn't need to. You really only need the top roof right there. You don't need any of these lower parts. Like full assets too, there's front faces, there's what seem to be door textures here, there's even a door in this building that leads to nothing. My guess is that they don't know how big each area will be, so they end up making it gigantic so that they give themselves enough space to actually make it the size that they want. But yeah, let's move on to our next unsettling place. So for the next weird and unsettling place is another one of these out of bounds, out of reach areas. But this one in particular, you can actually get a pretty good view of, and it's nothing amazing, it's pretty unremarkable, but I'll explain later while it's kind of unsettling. When you come to the second map of Dead Center, if you make your way out of the safe room, you turn to the right, you come down this road, you're supposed to go into this door here, but you can look off into the distance out here, and you can see absolutely nothing. I mean, they put some props, there's some cones, there's some post things there, but you can't make your way out here. Unfortunately, guess what? If you make your way out here by no clipping, and again, you know, these places are pretty odd because it's out of bounds, you're not supposed to be here. And I know these places aren't something special, they're unremarkable, and that's part of the point. You know, a lot of people misunderstand the point that I try to make with these videos. These videos aren't necessarily supposed to be the most remarkable places. In fact, they're supposed to be completely the opposite. You guys are not supposed to know about these places, but yet I'm showing them to you. And in places like this, there's full-on trees out here just chilling. They're animated and everything. You can see their branches moving in the wind. There's another tree over there. You can see this tree from that area over there. But it's interesting because not even infected come over here. Correct me if I'm wrong. I think infected might be able to get over here using their abilities, but I don't think they spawn spawn out here. I might be mistaken. They might not be able to come in this area specifically, but there's billboards here. This looks like the same billboard asset from Dark Carnival, Whispering Oaks. Oh yeah, it is. It is from Dark Carnival. That's interesting. Oh, that's a little Easter egg. That's pretty cool. Oh, and on this side is Jimmy Gibbs. That's interesting. I literally just noticed this. So Jimmy Gibbs on the one side, and then you have Whispering Oaks on the other side. But if you kind of walk out of this little tree area, which if you think about it, if this is a real road, you're driving by, look to your side, I could kind of envision this, but it doesn't really make sense when you have a giant building right here. And if you make your way all the way from the beginning part where we started, and you walk towards here, this room right here, as you can see with that highlight, is the loot room that you pass by before you drop down. This is also where the road continues. As you can see, there are a bunch of faces missing, and as I mentioned earlier in the video, people told me that they unrender or choose not to show these faces for optimization reasons. The less faces, the less things it has to worry about, less strain on your CPU. Let's go on to the next place. So for our next place, funnily enough, it ties into one of the previous places, but when you come to the first map at the very beginning of Last Stand, it's kind of strange because you start in the middle of nowhere, similar to the beginning of Death Toll, and you can see this car, which looks oddly familiar, no? And I think I was asking you guys whether or not this was the right car because I didn't get a good look at it. It is the exact car from Death Toll. It looks like they moved the lamp there and put a dead guy here. I don't really know where that dead guy would have come from. You know, maybe they picked someone up along the road and he turned into a zombie and unfortunately they had to take him out. But what place am I talking about? What place could be so strange that is worthy of coming here and making a segment about it? Well, most people just follow the road, go straight, continue with the map. They have no reason to look behind them. And as you know with me, the best places are found when you just look behind you. And as you know, Clip, out of bounds, there's a lot of assets out here because they quite literally have to put it here. There's no blockade blocking this area off, so it makes sense. Although, how would they get the car through this road if there's a vehicle here? And how did they get through here if there's a gate here? I mean, they could have opened it, but there's a bunch of junk. I don't think I've ever seen this texture on zombies before. Well, I mean, it's the burn texture. I know that texture, but I've never seen it clumped up like this in a pile. I think this is very interesting. There's some barbed wire here. There's these ladder assets, which I think I only see on Last Stand. I might be mistaken. There's some planks here. And as you make your way back here, I like to explore places without no clip if possible. But this is one of those weird out of bounds areas that again you're not really supposed to be in. But I just love that the game lets you come back here. It lets me use no clip and actually explore these areas. There's hills, there's rocks, there's trees. And as you guys remember, this texture right here is actually the same texture from that map in Death Toll. So it genuinely does connect. If I had to guess, it kind of turns this way. So I'm assuming that the people leave Death Toll from the right side and enter Last Stand through here. The road turns. Somehow they make it past this vehicle here and they end up right where you are, where you start Last Stand, and continue the map. But over here you can look outside. You can kind of see there's a bunch of void places. Again, I'm not too curious on why there isn't void faces because we are out of the bounds. I believe this lamppost is a blood harvest asset. They might use it other places, but I think I've seen it in blood harvest before. And if you come to the other side, it's a similar deal. You can see out of the map, there's trees, There's tree cards here. What I would think would have been really cool if they had the survivors actually start in this area. They put like maybe some rocks or something and they have the car crashed on the side of the road. Like maybe the survivors hit a rock or something and they spun out and they like crashed into a boulder or something. So there's like fire on the ground, which makes you not be able to backtrack. They just extend the cliff here and they let you actually go forward, because this is a very cool set dressing. I like this area for some reason. I don't know whether it's the light or the skybox. Probably a mixture of everything, but I think it'd be pretty interesting if you started just a little farther back. And I know it's kind of ironic because this map is like one of the longest maps in the entire game, so like why would you make it longer, you know? Ignoring that, I think you can make it pretty interesting. Maybe put like a lake over here with maybe some animals drinking. I know they never had animals in Left 4 Dead, or at least alive ones. That's what I would do if I was like revamping this map or something. Let's go to the final area for this video. So for the very final one, we come to the first out of the two maps on Crash Course, a campaign not a lot of people actually play, and to be honest with you, I think I played it probably less than 20 times. And something very interesting about this place is this map is pretty obvious. It ties into No Mercy. If you find this pilot right here, right next to spawn, you can see that this is actually the exact same guy that you can find in No Mercy. But for the actual place I want to show you, this is the area I'm talking about. Now to me, this is a very unsettling place because it has no reason to exist. This texture right here has no reason to exist. It's just some park. And again, it doesn't make any sense. We're out of bounds. I understand that. You know, these trees right here aren't even touching the ground. I don't think these ones are either. That one is definitely not. I think this one is actually touching the ground. And it looks to be actual 3D set dressing out of bounds, which is pretty cool because usually the 3D set dressing is 2D. But if you explore this area, it's pretty interesting. They went through the effort of putting trees and lampposts out here, which when you think about it, how does this make any sense? Maybe they plant stuff in their parking lot. But the biggest and most unsettling thing about these out of bounds areas is they put effort, but they don't put effort. Like they put just enough effort, if that makes sense. And it makes sense when you think about it. You're not really supposed to be out here, but if you can look off into here, it makes sense that there would be a little something. And over here there's a Humvee as well, with kind of this weird window glitch that we kind of saw a little bit on Death Toll. And once again, there's just giant empty space. And this one is a little bit more interesting because I can believe you can actually come over here and look out and see this giant empty space. In that regard, it's kind of strange that they didn't put anything here to block players from actually seeing this null zone, you should call it, or you could call it, I should say. And it seems to me that you can't actually explore outside here, which is sad because it looks like this is 3D stuff. Oh man, I really wanted to explore this. Instead of everything being 2D, it looked like they actually went through the effort of doing some weird trick to make the background out here 3D, but you can't actually explore it. Now, when I was finding places for this video, there's a lot of areas like this where I would try to no clip and it just completely takes your screen away. If you guys can explain to me like why this disappears when you try to get close to it, I'd appreciate that. I don't actually know why it does that. I love making these videos, I really do, and I can tell you guys really like watching them. I mean, people hate on everything, which is normal, but if you guys can leave comments down below in the comment section, like spreading love, I really appreciate it. I know a lot of you already do, and I'm very thankful for it. Trust me, I truly am. I read all of them. I really appreciate it. Now, don't forget, if we actually hit 2,000 likes on this video, I'll send you guys a picture of my bunny. Like I said, trust me, he's very cute. You won't be disappointed. Make sure you subscribe so you can get the photo on your front page of YouTube. Like I said, you don't need to come back. You don't need to check it. If you're subscribed and we hit the 2,000, you'll automatically get it. It'll just pop up in your feed, and you'll see the video or you see the photo, and you might not even remember what the heck is this, but then you remember when you read the title that it's from the 2K like. So thank you guys as always. If you have more places, please let me know down in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching. Have a nice rest of your day. Peace out.